Hey there. Can we take a few minutes to just talk about something that I think is on your mind just as much as it's on my mind right now? Can we take a few moments to talk about midlife? Midlife is this stage, I think, that, in my opinion, has gotten a really bad rap because I think we've been basing a lot of our experiences on the generational experiences of the women who have come before us, right? Our mothers, our grandmothers. And if you're a woman who is in your 40s, 50s, or even your 60s, odds are you probably did not have a mother who talked to you about those things. I certainly didn't. So odds are she didn't have anyone to talk to her about those things either. So we've passed down this sort of generational misunderstanding about what midlife is and what it means. We've brought all these thoughts and all these ideas and all these beliefs about what we should be and who we should be at this stage of our lives. But I think we've gotten it wrong. And I don't know about you, but I learned as I was going into my 40s that people had this idea about midlife, that it was supposed to be like this traumatic time, like, people call it this midlife crisis, and we all sort of bought into that. And so it's like everything is supposed to be out of control, you're feeling terrible about everything and everyone, and then eventually it gets so bad that you just say, you know what, I give up. And so you're in full-blown crisis mode. But today, I want to challenge that belief, right? Because honestly, midlife is the perfect time for reinvention, for a reawakening, for a revamping. So why do I say that? Because odds are you fulfilled all the roles that society gave you before you were even born. You were a nurturer, check. You are a provider, check. You are a supporter, check, check, check. So you know what that means? That means that you are free. You are free. So give yourself a hand clap. You have gotten to the point in your life where you can do you, boo. Okay? So that's why I think that midlife is the perfect time, not just for me, but for you also, to make what I call a power pivot. Right? Doesn't that sound cool? A power pivot to transform your life in ways that you never even imagined that you could. So I think for too long, we've brought into this narrative that, once you hit your 40s, 50s, and your 60s, your best years are behind you. But that could not be further from the truth, right? Midlife is not this time to settle down. It's really a time to take everything that you've learned, all the wisdom that you've gained, and really use it to fuel this new next chapter of your life. This next chapter that's more aligned with who you truly are and what you really want out of this life. So let's talk about pivoting in midlife. It's not just an option, but it really is a power move. By the time you reach this stage in your life, this whole midlife stage, you have accumulated literal decades of experience, right? Experience that gives you a unique edge. It makes you uniquely you. And you understand yourself better, hopefully. You've learned from your successes, and even more importantly, you've learned from the times that you haven't succeeded. Everything is for something. As I tell my daughter all the time, nothing is for nothing. So at this stage, you may not be able to articulate it quite yet, but I think in your heart of hearts, in your mind of minds, you know what you want at this stage. And more importantly, you know what you don't want at this stage. That's a thing too. So imagine using that experience as a foundation for a pivot to change the direction for yourself, whether it's starting a new career, whether it's launching a business, or maybe pursuing that passion project that you've always wanted to pursue. And you didn't do it because you put it on the back burner, because you bought into the whole narrative that this just wasn't the right time for you. But at this stage of the game, because you have fulfilled all of the roles that society has told you that you need to fulfill, because you have all the experience that you have, your possibilities are wide open. Your options are infinite at this stage of life. And that really becomes your biggest asset. Think about it. Everything that you know, every ounce of wisdom that you have at this point, it's an asset for you. So it makes your pivot not just possible, but it makes it really quite powerful as well. So you've spent all of these years, like I said, building and nurturing relationships and gaining all these insights. So all of that is incredibly valuable information. A lot of us don't think that it's worth anything, but it is incredibly valuable information. When you pivot in midlife, you're not just starting from scratch. So here's why it's so important. You're not just starting from scratch. You're starting from all of that experience. You're starting from everything that you've learned. So you're bringing like this huge depth of knowledge, like this really deep, rich, storied information that you're bringing from everything that you've learned up until this point. And younger people just don't have that. You have this like edge about you. You have all of these things that you know at this stage, and that gives you the advantage. That is why your pivot is so very powerful at this point. So the benefits of making this midlife pivot, they're huge. They're huge. I wonder if you've ever even considered it, right? So you get to create a life that's way more aligned with your values at this stage, as well as your passions. And you can explore new opportunities that really excite you, and you don't have to settle for what's comfortable at this stage. And most importantly, you get to show up in the world as the most authentic version of yourself. A lot of times people are like in this stage of the game, a lot of the women in my community on Facebook, they're like, I just want to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And so why not? This is a perfect time for you to do that. So if you're feeling like you're stuck, like you're going through the motions, I want you to know this. Midlife is not the end of the road for you. It's the perfect time to make a bold move, to make your power pivot, and to start your new chapter that's much more fulfilling, that's much more meaningful, that is a lot richer and more true to who you are. So take a moment to reflect on what you really want, because you've earned that. After all of these years, you have earned the right to take a moment to really think about you, to put yourself first. It's not selfish, it is essential. So I want you to think about, at this stage, what kind of dreams do you have? And what have you been putting on hold? What have you been wanting to do and you haven't? For whatever reason. There's no judgment here. But just think about those types of things. What passions have you yet to explore? Now is the time to do it. Remember when you were talking about, well, one day I'll do this. Flip it. Make that power pivot and tell yourself that instead of one day, this is going to be your day one to do that. Promise? Pinky swear? Yeah? Okay. So this is your moment to pivot and to reinvent yourself, whatever that looks like to you, whatever that feels like to you. This is your time to create a life that really, truly makes you happy. And there's nobody there to judge it, because you're the one who is living this life. You're the one who is sort of putting all of these things together and saying, yes, this is the direction that I want to go now, right? And there's nobody judging you, especially in this corner of the internet. We're rooting for you. I want you to have it. You've earned it. You deserve it. So go ahead and make that power move. your future is waiting for you to take that first step. So thank you for watching this video. If you're ready to start your midlife pivot, and share your thoughts or comments in the comments below, and let me know what you think about making your power pivot right now.